Today, I will be discussing the Millionaire Fastlane. Crack the Code to Wealth and Live Rich for a Lifetime by M.J. DeMarco. This book is about 130,000 words, and I will spend about 22 minutes discussing its essence. The conventional life plan is full of risks, and we should not be content with a slow and steady approach. Instead, we should strive to break conventional thinking, enhance our control over life's variables, find our wealth accelerators, and focus our limited time and energy on what truly matters to embark on the path to financial freedom. Before we dive in, please click the subscribe button below the video and stay updated. Motivational, entrepreneurial, and success books have been popular for many years, and there are so many that it can be overwhelming just to see the keywords. Moreover, the title of this book sounds quite old-fashioned. However, please don't be disappointed just yet, as this book has been a bestseller in North America for several years, which suggests it has merit. Although the author started his career through entrepreneurship and advocates for it, the values and work skills introduced in the book are universally valuable. Whether you are interested in entrepreneurship or not, this book can be of help. The traditional path of going to university, working, saving, and investing might lead to a comfortable retirement, if you are lucky. While there's nothing wrong with this approach, the author views it as a convoluted, slow lane of life. The so-called fast lane and slow lane can be summed up with the idioms that mean achieve twice the result with half the effort, and achieve half the result with twice the effort. You might think that you can't achieve everything at once and that although your progress is slow, you are steady and persistent. You believe that eventually, you will pay off your loans and enjoy Social Security and a peaceful retirement. However, the author disagrees. Do you really think your job is secure enough to rely on until old age? The risk is significant. In such a turbulent economic environment, your investments or bank savings could drastically diminish due to a sudden financial crisis. Even if such an event is unlikely, other risks such as health issues, company layoffs, or industry disruptions, there are too many variables out of your control, making it difficult to securely retire. Instead, the author suggests that it is better to work hard early on and enter the fast lane of life. Of course, you need some personal achievements to confidently guide others on how to reach the pinnacle of life. The author, M.J. DeMarco, refers to himself as MJ, which is the same abbreviation used by Michael Jackson, but his fame is vastly different from the singer's. MJ doesn't have prestigious titles, an exceptional education, or experience in large corporations. His resume is rather unimpressive compared to other successful figures. However, he leads an enviable life. He owns a mansion in Phoenix with no debts, drives a Lamborghini, and can buy anything he wants on a whim. Yet, he doesn't need to work. He earns hundreds of thousands of dollars each month by working only a few hours. Most of his time is spent enjoying leisure activities like driving his luxury car, playing softball, and drinking coffee. He also used his free time to write this book. Honestly, compared to overworked corporate executives, MJ's lifestyle is likely what most people dream of. Yet just a decade ago, he was a struggling young man washing dishes and doing odd jobs. He later started an internet company from scratch and sold it when it was thriving, securing enough money to support himself for life. His personal journey is filled with contingencies such as timing, location, circumstances, and luck, which you might not be able to replicate no matter how much you admire him. Fortunately, the book teaches not specific business tactics but universally applicable skills and mentalities. It doesn't provide a step-by-step plan to start an internet company. Instead, it challenges your thinking and helps you find your wealth accelerator to escape the 9-to-5 grind and achieve financial freedom. Now that we've covered the basic information about the book and the author, let's delve into the content. The book focuses on 3 main points: understanding the value of time, enhancing your competitiveness to make yourself more attractive to bosses and clients, and how early investment determines success. If you can observe closely and establish a system that suits you early on, you can significantly reduce later efforts and make your money work for you. Let's start with the first key point. The author believes that time is precious. While this might sound like a cliché from a primary school textbook, it is a fundamental concept that lays the foundation for the book. He categorizes everyone's life into three paths: the sidewalk, the slow lane, and the fast lane. The sidewalk is living paycheck to paycheck, accruing debt, and enjoying life with no thought for tomorrow. This path only leads to poverty. The slow lane is the secure, salaried life we mentioned earlier, where you work hard now for a possibly relaxed retirement. The author doesn't have much regard for this path. He advocates for the fast lane. Identify the demand, understand the right approach, and work hard for a few years to seize opportunities for rapid wealth. Here, the author emphasizes speed and efficiency. At the core of these concepts is time. Ultimately, unless you live off interest or rent, the total amount you earn in your lifetime is the reward you get per unit of time worked, multiplied by the time you can work. Therefore, the variables you can adjust in earning money are quite limited. Want to earn more? Either increase your compensation or spend more time. But wait, don't assume you have all the time in the world to waste. Your time is more limited than you think. The author points out that the time spent working is not truly yours because you've sold it. In exchange, you get money and free time during the holidays. Frankly, this trade isn't very lucrative. You wouldn't trade $5 for 2, would you? But think about it, you work 5 days a week to earn 2 days of free time. Would you really want to waste this hard-earned free time? During your working hours, everyone is stressed and hardly has extra energy for learning. When can you improve yourself and create a gap between you and others? It's during your free time. The author suggests that you can read books, absorb information through various media, organize information, grasp market demands, and even build social networks through communication. But don't waste your time on trivial things like watching TV or playing games. If you're truly exhausted, it's okay to rest and relax. The key is to remember that your free time is extremely precious and hard to come by, so whatever you choose to do, make sure it's significant. Similarly, when shopping, you can also calculate the cost in terms of time, not just money. While buying a fancy pair of headphones might look cool, is it worth working a month for it? Does the happiness it brings outweigh the hardship of that month? And after a month, when the novelty wears off, will you still like it as much? Of course, how you spend your money is up to you, but how much do you really need it? Is it worth the cost? You need to think carefully before making a decision. Indeed, making choices is crucial. The author repeatedly emphasizes that while passion is necessary for life and work, you shouldn't make decisions and choices impulsively. Because your decisions and choices directly affect how efficiently you use your time, and time is a critical lever for achieving financial freedom. He suggests that when faced with choices, it's best not to decide based on a whim but to sit down and make a list, think it through. Here he offers 2 tips. One is to analyze the worst-case scenario before making a decision. Sit down, allow yourself to be pessimistic, and consider what the worst outcome could be if you fail. Then, assess how likely it is that things will turn out this way. If they do, can you handle it? If the risk is not minor and you truly can't cope, then it's better to retreat to a safe area and not take the risk. You won't regret it later because this is a decision you've made after careful consideration. The other tip is to score each option. Identify the factors that will affect you, assign each factor a weight, and then score these factors based on reality. For example, if you're looking for housing, the factors that might influence you are the price and location of the house. If you don't want to spend 2 to 3 hours commuting on the subway every day, you might not mind spending a bit more to live closer to your company. Therefore, you give the price a weight of 1 and the location a weight of 2. Then, if a house in Area A is expensive and scores only 5, but the location is excellent and scores 8, the total score is 8 times 2 plus 5, equaling 21 points. If a house in Area B is more affordable, scoring 8, but the location is average, scoring 5, the total score is 5 times 2 plus 8, which is only 18 points, so you should choose Area A. Of course, most life decisions aren't this simple, but using such a scoring method to organize options and weights beforehand can still help you calmly assess your needs and capabilities and arrive at a more correct answer. I believe everyone now understands the first key point of the book. Time is a crucial lever for achieving financial freedom. When making decisions, we must consider not only the cost of money but also the time cost behind it. The second part. Having discussed this, let's move on to the second key point: how to enhance your competitiveness. Whether you plan to start a business or continue on your current life path, the key issue you face is the same: how to make yourself more appealing to others. The author also has plenty of experience to share in this regard. To enhance your competitiveness, the most basic approach is to strive to meet the needs of others. Of course, the most important thing in life is to be happy, and this is true. But think about it: if what you do doesn't make others happy, why should they care about you? Whether it's a job interview, submitting a proposal, planning, or asking for a raise, whenever you want to sell yourself and gain recognition, you need to understand the other party's needs and address them. Your selling point must first benefit the user and then be clear and specific. For example, if you're looking for a job, don't just say, "I graduated from a good university, earned 3 certificates, and have 5 years of relevant experience." Instead, say, "I know you want to develop this area, I have these skills and experience, I'm good at these types of projects, and I can help you." So, how can we identify these needs? The author believes the most effective way is to find opportunities in negative phenomena. Here, negative phenomena refer simply to complaints and grievances. Normally, we don't like listening to complaints. If a client or supervisor complains, our first thought might be, "They're nitpicking, how annoying." But complaints indicate dissatisfaction, meaning you could do better. Outsiders see more clearly than insiders, and often you won't see yourself as clearly as others do. However, people generally won't come forward to offer suggestions or tell you what you lack or could improve. Therefore, complaints and grievances are the best feedback you can receive. If you run your own business, customer complaints can reveal new business opportunities. For example, if a customer says, "This product is weak. I want it to fly. Why can't it?" then it's likely that others have the same need. If you add a flying feature to your product, you might open up a whole new market. The same principle applies if you're a salaried employee. If a client dislikes a particular word you frequently use in your proposals, you shouldn't dismiss it as an isolated incident and continue using it after the collaboration ends. Other clients might have similar feelings but a higher tolerance and haven't spoken up. However, if you make the change, their fondness for you might increase. Of course, there are many unreasonable complaints and grievances, and you can't take them all seriously. The author believes that there are 2 types of complaints worth paying attention to. One is called expectation complaints, which occur when your customer or boss feels you haven't met their expectations. This type of complaint tells you that you haven't satisfied their needs, so you need to think about whether to improve your product or service or try to lower their expectations. The other type is called omission complaints, where your customer or boss wants something that you haven't provided at all, and there's a gap in your product. This type of complaint is like a goldmine because it clearly tells you what others need and what ideas you should offer, directing you toward the right path. Things you might not think of on your own can be pointed out by others. Know your enemy and know yourself, and you can fight 100 battles without disaster. Once you understand others' needs, you can start making your move. However, there's one more thing to keep in mind at this point. You shouldn't undersell yourself. Underselling can be interpreted in many ways. If you want to start a business, underselling means you can't rely solely on low prices to beat competitors. If you're trying to market yourself in other companies or markets, underselling means you shouldn't set your value and demands too low in your eagerness to succeed. The reason is simple. Price implies value. If your product is good but you consistently lower your prices or are overly modest, others will naturally think your product is cheap and you lack skills. If you package yourself well, an appropriately high price can actually enhance your brand. Regarding this, I have a deep personal understanding from other examples. In June this year, I met a Japanese farmer at a research conference in Japan. He inherited his family's farm, which is now very successful, and he serves as a guest professor at a university and often appears on TV shows. However, when he took over the farm from his father, the business situation was quite dire. Why? Because the competition was fierce, and their vegetables weren't particularly outstanding. In such a situation, it's not easy to turn things around. The farmer considered whether to rely on low-profit, high-volume sales to break into the market, but instead, he did the opposite and painstakingly packaged a lotus root to sell for 10,000 yen each. Many people thought, "Are you joking? Who would spend that much on a lotus root? You're charging 30 times the price of a regular one." But, as you might guess, not only did high-end restaurants scramble to buy his lotus roots, but many wealthy individuals also specifically purchased these beautifully packaged lotus roots with certificates as gifts. He successfully established his brand for premium vegetables, not just lotus roots, and other crops also saw their prices rise, bringing in a flood of orders. The second point we discussed is how to handle complaints about you correctly, extract the needs from these complaints, and thus improve your performance and enhance your competitiveness. The third part. Now, let's talk about the last key point. The positioning and direction in the early stages determine success or failure. The author believes that on the path to striving for wealth, your ultimate goal should be to live comfortably, not to burn out working like many executives. To achieve this, you need to establish an effective system to generate wealth for you. In other words, invent tools to free up your hands. The author uses the example of a pyramid. He says that whether you're building a large pyramid on the slow lane or the fast lane, the approach differs. On the slow lane, you might physically move and stack stones yourself, exhausting yourself in the process and taking decades to complete the pyramid. On the fast lane, however, you would spend a few years observing the environment, conducting research, and designing effective tools like cranes, pulleys, or ramps, all of which can save you a lot of effort and potentially allow you to build the pyramid much more quickly. This point, in practical terms, is about finding the right entry point and making reasonable initial investments. At the beginning of any endeavor, you should analyze the whole situation and make a comprehensive plan, rather than rolling up your sleeves and diving in headfirst. The author believes that the choices and investments you make in the earliest stages are the most crucial. For example, if a plane's flight angle is off by 1 degree at takeoff, it will end up far off course. But if it's only slightly off in the last few kilometers, it won't be too far from the destination. So what are the key factors in the early stages? They are your values and perspectives. As the author says, no matter what you want to do or how you want to change yourself, the first step should always be to correct the way you think and understand things. In simple terms, break your mental mold before you act. The author points out that in most cases, becoming rich and successful isn't a sudden, isolated event but a process with causes and effects. Before you can achieve results, you must think, act, persevere, and find the right path. Regardless of your profession, we should all have a sense of crisis and a spirit of challenge, thinking about how to make ourselves invincible. This is an unshakable truth that we often forget. That's about it for today's discussion. Now let's briefly review the content shared today. First, we discussed that time is a crucial lever for achieving financial freedom. It's a limited resource, and we must realize that we're trading time for money. How we spend our time efficiently and make appropriate choices will determine our returns. Second, to enhance our competitiveness and make bosses and clients appreciate us, we need to analyze their needs, summarize experiences from their complaints, find our positioning, and avoid always trying to broaden our market by lowering our value. Lastly, we talked about how early positioning and direction determine success or failure. Systems and methods have a significant impact on the overall situation. Correct and effective concepts and thinking can greatly shorten our money-making cycle, increase our earning speed, and help us achieve financial freedom sooner. In the book, the author constantly emphasizes the lack of time and encourages us to hurry onto the fast lane. His attitude may seem very impatient and eager for quick success. However, the essence of the values he wants to convey is that he hopes everyone can achieve the greatest results with the least effort. Everyone's life has its own highlights and is irreplicable, but one thing is common: our time and energy are limited resources. Therefore, you must maintain a certain level of control over your time, energy, and income, because if we can't control the variables in our life plan, how can we control the outcome of the plan? That's the essence of this book. You can click the description below the video to find the link to the book. Welcome to read it. You can also share this book with your friends. If you like the content of Daily Book Dive, click the subscribe button to stay updated. Your encouragement helps us continue bringing book essence to our community. Congratulations, you've finished another book.